Hey, it's Korinn. 365 Days of Open Heart Living, Day 53, Security. So I was just getting ready for bed and I was thinking about how, how is it that some people don't care what other people think, and for other people, they do. I feel like I'm kind of in the category of being somebody that doesn't care a whole lot about what other people think. Yeah, I feel like, I mean, I'm sure I do care about what other people think, but I also feel like it doesn't weigh on what I think about myself. And maybe, I was just kind of having a thought, hashing over, why is that? Why does it not weigh on me? And then I was thinking about security and how I've always had secure relationships, and I've mostly have felt secure in my life. I mean, there's definitely been times where I have had a bad attitude about myself, felt like some self-loathing and whatnot, but that was when I was a teenager, a long time ago. Everybody grows and matures and whatnot, and life changes too, and we can find things in our life that add to our stability and our sense of security, and that can add to the not giving a shit about what other people think. Because when you are secure in your own sense of yourself, when you are secure in what you can provide for yourself in your life, then kind of the whole keeping up with the Joneses, being a certain way in the eyes of certain people, it kind of doesn't matter as much. And then I know there's all sorts of family relationships, family patterns, and some patterns with parents, households, families, they perpetuate the feeling of not measuring up, or the feeling of needing to act a certain way to be accepted. And I don't really know what my opinion is on that. That's just not where I came from. So I have the luxury of not having to deal with that shit. But I really hope and pray that everybody can feel their own self-worth, regardless, whatever that word is, of how their life is in relation to the people that matter to them. Because yes, it does matter. Those relationships do matter. But if you are on track with knowing in your heart that you are a good person and you're doing your best, and you have errors or flaws that you can see and that you can try to work in, then you don't owe anybody anything but just your authenticity. There is security in being authentic. There is security in admitting, I'm not the greatest person. Nobody is, right? Who is the greatest person? We all have flaws. And when you can admit that you have flaws and live in them, and accept yourself regardless, and know that no matter what shade might get thrown at you by whomever, that you are still worthy of love and acceptance, then the give a shitter can maybe be more calibrated to your favor, where people's comments, people's opinions, people's judgments about you can carry less weight. Because in being authentic with yourself and with other people, it gives you the freedom to flow. And in flow, you grow. So I want you to go ahead and close your eyes. Feel your breath. We're gonna do a mantra meditation right now, where we're gonna repeat the mantra, I accept myself and I love myself. And then feel in the heart, doing the inner smile. I accept myself and I love myself. I accept my flaws and I love myself. Feel in the heart. I accept that I have room for improvement and I love myself. I am uniquely me and I love myself. Feel in the heart. I have great qualities mixed in with not so great qualities because I am fully human and I love myself. Life is challenging and I do the best that I can, all the while loving myself. And again, after you repeat the statement, feel in your heart. allowing the energy of the heart to open and to move through you in affirmation that you are fully capable of loving yourself in your humanness, with your flaws, and with your gorgeous beauty that you have been created in, that has been created in you. A work in progress, worthy of love. I make mistakes. I accept that I make mistakes, and I build from the mistakes that I made, because I am human and I love myself. And in your open-heartedness, center on feeling your breath again. Feeling your center. Feeling your center is a space of security, being connected to you inside of you. Feel that sense of presence that is you in your heart. Open to your authentic self. And security is there. And when you're ready, open your eyes. So I'm just rolling with some impulsivity tonight because that's how I roll. Sometimes I get a whim and I get a thought in my head and I want to act on it, and so I do. And this was that tonight. It's probably one of my flaws. My husband used to say I would have too many irons in the fire, and he could never understand why I couldn't just focus on one thing, why I would have like 4, 5, 6 different projects going at one time. And a part of that is my impulsivity, where I'll have a project going that I'm focusing on, but then my brain will get drawn over in a different direction, and I will need to act on that because of compulsivity, of if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Yeah, but that's my authentic self. A little bit impulsive and spread thin and pushing myself too hard sometimes. But that's just who I am. And being authentic to who you are in your flaws, sometimes it can soften them as actually being flaws, because there's acceptance there and workability in you just being who you are. Security is there when you expose your vulnerabilities to the point that they are not vulnerabilities anymore, because anybody can see them, and it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you to be seen when you have security in yourself. Your vulnerabilities can be seen, and your security does not need to be shaken by that. Because I think really when we have things about ourselves that don't always serve us, there are times when those things can serve us. I remember working with a gentleman a while ago, and he wanted to focus on being able to stay on task and be focused. He felt like he was a squirrel kind of all over the place. And I could relate to that. But the more I talked with him and learned about how he processed things and what his patterns were and kind of what his blocks were, he was defining himself negatively, and he didn't need to be, because the amount of time that this individual spent off task and not focusing was like 30-70. So 30% off task, 70% on task. And I brought to his attention that, you know what? It's okay to not be freaking balls to the wall all the time on do, go, go. We all have to take breaks, right? So if you're 70% the person you want to be and 30% the person you don't want to be, you're killing it. You're doing amazing. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give yourself the acknowledgement that you are living your life well, even with the errors and the gaps and the characteristics that need to be worked on. You're doing a good job. You are. Acknowledge that. And the word that came to me for that gentleman and reframing how he saw himself as being unfocused was, I was seeing him as being more dynamic. And when I shared that with him, he took to it. It resonated with him. And it gave himself a new frame of mind to view that, yeah, maybe he is unfocused and goes off task and follows things that he shouldn't be following at a time where he needs to get stuff done, but also being dynamic, being able to shift on a dime and move in a different direction, that had also served him, because sometimes some of the things, the rabbit holes he would go down, the things he would go and chase, they would end up coming back and helping him to build the business that he was trying to focus on. So the same goes for you. The same goes for all of us. The faults that we have, how can you reframe them My impulsivity, yes, it can be a detriment, and I can take on more than what I can handle. But at the same time, I have so much to offer and to give. And what's a little bit of sampling, a little bit of kind of throwing stuff out there. That's how I started this journey with you. 365 days of open heart living was on a whim, an impulsive, do it once, throw it out there, and now I'm keeping it going. And I feel like that's a good thing for me and a good thing for you. So whatever your faults are that you have to have kind of authenticity with and be okay to be vulnerable and show, do yourself a favor and reframe them. If you say I am impulsive, or whatever you say, that's just my thing right now that I'm commenting on. If I say I'm impulsive, I have too many irons in the fire, I'm too spread thin, then what could be said instead? Maybe I say I'm dynamic too. Maybe I say I'm creative beyond my own capacity to keep up with my creativeness. Whatever it is, say what your flaw is, accept it, and then reframe it. And let that be something that helps you to live your heart.